Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, and today we are back with another exciting tutorial. So this will be a continuation of our GitLab CICD tutorial for beginners, and in this tutorial we are going to see how we can make use of GitLab CICD pipeline to push the Docker image to container registry. So in our previous tutorial of GitLab, we have spoke about GitLab container registry. So we have seen how we can create our Docker images and push it to the GitLab container registry rather than using Docker Hub, right? So now in this topic, what we are going to do is we are going to automate that. So we'll have a GitLab CI/CD pipeline to create our Docker image, and it will be pushed to the container registry. So what it will be like, you have a commit, or you'll have your app in the GitLab repository. So for this we are going to use a Node.js applications, and you'll have a GitLab CI/CD pipeline which will use that repository, and we will build the image, and we will doing the build on a Docker GitLab runner. So we'll be using a GitLab runner. We are going to use two stages here, one using the shared runner, and we will also see how we can use a specific runner which we will install it on a Linux machine, and which will have a Docker also, and we will see how we can run this job on a specific runner using Docker container, and also we will see how that can be pushed into our GitLab container registry. So in running this Docker container in a GitLab runner, there is also a concept like Docker in Docker. So we are going to use that as well in this topic, so we can easily run our job. So we'll use this Docker in Docker concept in the shared runner, so that it can create a Docker container, and we will run the Docker commands inside that, and we will create our Docker image, and it will be pushed to our GitLab container registry. So the whole process, we are going to use a Node.js application, because you will know how to build your Docker image for Node.js using this, and in the upcoming tutorial we will use this concept into using the deployment of our Node.js application as well. So one of the key parameter what you need to understand in this topic is like authenticating with the container registry. So like in Docker Hub you use Docker login, and we need to give our username and password for Docker Hub, right? Similar way, like in the GitLab container registry, there are a few different ways. In the previous tutorial we have seen how we can create our personal token, right? And using that username and password you can log in, username and the personal token, you can log into the container registry. So in this tutorial we will see different ways, but the easiest way is like using the CI/CD variable called CI registry user. So this is a default variable in GitLab, which can be easily used, because in every project it will create a CI registry user and a specific password for that, and the CI registry is the respective repository or container registry for that project. So you can use this default variable. So by default it will use that and log in, so that will applicable for that job alone. So we will use that, and also there is another option called CI job token. So that also use a default variable like a CI job user and CI job token, and CI registry is the container registry for that project. So this is the one which we spoke like a personal token. This one also we can use. We can create a personal token for that your account, and you can use that. You can use the username, and you can use that personal token to log into the CI registry, which is the container registry. So we will use the first option, which is the CI registry user and CI registry password to log into the container registry and pushing into that. So before I get into the actual demo, I would request you, like, if you have not subscribed to my channel, or if you are new to my channel, kindly click on the subscribe button, and also like my videos, share and comment. So let's get started. So I'm in one of my project called Node app test, okay, and I have the files. So the Node.js, you'll have package.json, we'll have some files. So here in my case it's the index.js, and I have a Docker file which is written for to build our Node.js application. So these things I'm not going to explain. These are already covered in my previous tutorial. So if you're not sure how to write Docker file for a Node.js application, please have a look on my previous tutorials. Okay, and we also have Docker ignore to ignore some of the files, and this test is for testing the Node.js application. So what we want to do is we want to containerize or dockerize this application, and we want to push that into your container registry. So for each project, that there is a container registry which can store your images, right? So like a Docker Hub, so you can use this for pushing your image, and which can be used for deployment as well. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a pipeline first. So for that you need to create a GitLab CICD.yaml file, and let me show you how to write the pipeline. Let me open the Visual Studio Code. So I already written this pipeline code. So now if you see, I'm using an image called Docker. Okay, so I'm using a Docker image because I don't want to use install Docker on a Linux machine and then use that. So in GitLab, a shared runner, it is easy, like you just use some of the runner which have a Docker, and I'm going to use an image for Docker itself, and I'm going to define a service called Docker in Docker, so that we can run all these commands inside the Docker image or Docker container. Okay, so the stage that I'm going to have only single stage called build, and the problem is, like, if you split these stages into different stages, each stage will not run on the same container, so then it will not happen correctly. So it has to be combined all together so that the whole thing can run on the same container, and it can finish, and it can push it, and it can log out. Okay, so this is a variable I'm just going to set. It's not mandatory. You can set it directly here itself, the name. So I'm just setting a container registry name, container image name. So it's going to be the registry, because it has to be this one, because like when we pushing to the container registry, you need to give your account GitLab slash and your account name slash right, and the image name. So then only it can push. Otherwise it like in Docker Hub also you have to give your username slash and the image, right? So we'll see what will get the outputs. And the latest, I'm hard coding a latest one. You can have use like test, or you can use anything. You can also use some variable here, so every time when you build image, it can change the values. Okay, so that we will see in the tutorial for how to deploy your Node.js application. This is more of about, I want to show you how to create a image and then push it. So Docker login, we spoke like we'll use these variables like CI registry user and password, and the CI registry is for the container registry name. So these are standard variables in GitLab which you can easily use. Okay, and this one is the variable. I have just set it, and we are going to run it Docker file on the home location, and we are going to push it the image Docker push, which will pushing to the CI registry, which is the container registry, and we'll log out. So that should be the overall process. So let me just copy this. So I have copied this content into the GitLab CI.yaml, so you can see we are copying those content. Okay, so it's a pretty simple. I will give this link so you can make use of this link as well. So that's all for this GitLab CI.yaml doll. You can just go to your pipelines, and since I already submitted, I will just run the pipeline. So it can start the pipeline on the master branch. Okay, so you can see it started building. So you can see it's running Docker with the image Docker, right? So let's wait. This may take some time, because depending upon the image for Node.js, it's almost like 1 GB of image. It has to build the Docker image, then it has to push it to the container registry as well, right? So it has to go through the whole process. So let's wait. So you can see it's trying to pull the image, right? So it's trying to build the image. So it has already logged in with our CI registry user password, right? Now it's building the image using the Docker file. So you can see it's running the Docker file commands. So you can see now it has completed the image creation, right? And you can see it's registry.gitlab.com, and the account and the image name and latest, right? Now it's pushing to doc container registry, and then it's logging out. So it's the whole process is completed. Now if you go to your container registry, you should have the image over here, right? You can see it's the latest tag. So that's a simple process regarding the building the image and pushing into the container registry. Now what we have done is here we have used the runner, which is a shared runner, right? So that's why it was running on this runner. So I'm just going to disable this, and I'm going to create a specific runner now. Okay, so for that I'm using this machine, which on this I have already Docker installed. Okay, and I need to install the GitLab runner on this machine. So in order to run the GitLab runner on the Linux machine, I already shared this tutorial, like how to set up GitLab runner on a Linux machine. So these are some commands. So if you just run it, it will download the runner, then we have to install it. So I'm just quickly going through it. So if you want to have a detailed tutorial on that, just have a look on my tutorial for that. But anyhow, I will give all these links in the video description, so you can use this to download and install the runner. So that is downloaded, so now you have to run this command. Okay, so these are you need to add the GitLab runner. So go to this folder where you will be able to see the GitLab runner. So let's install the GitLab runner. Okay, so it's installed. Let's start the runner as well. Okay, now we have started the runner. Now we need to register the runner. So in order to register, you need to run GitLab runner register, and it will ask you to enter the GitLab URL. So we need to run gitlab.com. If you are running your own instance, you have to enter based on that. You need to go to your project, and you need to copy this token. You need to run the token, and you need to give a description. I'm going to call this as my Linux runner, and you need to give a tags. And tag is something which is very important, because we'll use this tag in our pipeline now, because otherwise the pipeline will not know on which runner it has to run. So I'm going to use Docker and shell here. Okay, and now we need to have the executor. So like every runner have an executor. So here we are going to use the shell executor. Okay, so we are not using Docker plus machine or Docker, because this is a shell executor which we are using. So we can see the runner is configured properly. Now if I go back here and refresh, and if I go back to the runners, you should be able to see the runner is up and green, right? So before we do that, we also need to enable our Docker. So I'm going to use systemctl status Docker. You can see it's not running, so I'm going to start it. So if I check again, now you have this Docker running, right? And also what we need to do is our GitLab runner need access for our Docker sock. So let me also add the GitLab runner as the permission for the Docker group. So basically when you install Docker, you'll have a group called Docker. Okay, if you don't have it, you need to create that, and you need to add our GitLab runner into the group. Otherwise, when you run the Docker commands, it will give you a message like it's not able to access the Docker sock. And let me also use restart Docker. So Docker is running. So I think we are ready with our Docker GitLab runner. So now it's time for going back to our pipeline. So if you see, I have written a different kind of pipeline here. So we can run the same, this pipeline as well. This will also run on this machine. But I just want to show you we can do it in a separate stages as well, because now we are running on a shared runner, which is our specific runner. So all these jobs will run on the same machine. It's not like, shared runner, like each job will run on a different machines. So because of this, you can run, in different stages as well. And I will show you each stage what it happens. So now if you see, we have stages called login, build, right, push, logout, and I'm setting a variable like container image test, and in the login job, so it should be running on the stage login, and we are using the tag as Docker, so that when you run this pipeline, it will detect the runner which is tagged with Docker, which will be our specific runner. So if you don't tag it, then it will not run. It will be on pending stage because it will not be able to find the runner which it can run. Okay, so now this command is the same command which we are using to login, and the build, we are using the same command again to build. Okay, so this time the image will be like with test, not as a latest. And pushing the Docker, I'm not running the push command. So if you use the push, what will happen is it will push to the Docker container registry. But because of the size of the image, and also it takes a lot of time because of the network connectivity to push it to the container registry, I'm just skipping this stage. But in your case, you can put it, so you can put this part over here, just copy Docker push and put it here, just like this. You can just change this to Docker push, so it will push the image to the container registry. But I'm just skipping that one alone, so I'm just putting a echo thing, and the last stage will be Docker logout. So I will copy this content. Okay, so let me go back to our editor, and I will just change the pipeline. Okay, so let me change this to this pipeline script, so we have a different pipeline, and let me commit, and you can see the pipeline is started. So let's wait. So you can see the pipeline has started. It has 4 stages now. Okay, the login job, let me see, it has failed somehow. Yep, the problem here it is now it has failed because it's not able to fetch and the git command not found. So what you need to do is you need to use yum install git, because you need to have git to run the whole process, because it has to download the or clone the repository to this machine. So git is also required, so you need to install git. So let me wait for the installation to be completed. So git is installed now. So let me also show you, like if I go to Docker images, we don't have an image at all. So now what will happen is when we run the pipeline, it will download the node base image, it will build the image, and you should be able to see a image with the new tag. Okay, so let's run this again. So let me go back to the pipeline, and let me run the pipeline again. So let's see the status, it's running. So now you see the first job is completed. It has logged into the container registry, so it succeeded, right? So let's go back to the job. So we have let's go back to the pipeline. Let's see what's the second stage. Okay, unfortunately it has failed this stage as well, so let's see. So I'm not sure why it has failed. Let me run it again. So we'll wait for this time and see. So looks like this time it's running. So you can see it started building the container. So basically, I found some issue with the git. So it's trying to git fetch rather than using git clone. So I had to make a small change in the setting for that as well. So I'll show you once this is completed. So it's trying to pull the node image, so we should be able to see once this is pulled, the image is also available in our GitLab runner. Now it started building the image. So if I go back to the runner and if I see Docker images, you can see node is pulled and it's building the other image. So we'll see this none will be changed soon. So I will just wait for the building to be completed on the job. Good. Looks like our job is completed, and you can see it has created a image called registry.gitlab.com, and my account, and also the node app test. So let's see what we have it here. So now you see we can see this image, right? And the tag is test. So that's what we built here. So let's go back to our pipeline. Now you can see this whole pipeline is completed because we had a push job and we had a logout job as well. So the push job, as I mentioned, I did not put the option to push it to the container registry. So if you put it the container registry, it will push it to container registry as well. Okay, so it may take time based on the how much size of your image it has to push from your specific runner to the container registry. So the process is same. You can just use the two method. One is this one, you can use Docker in Docker, or you can use shared runner where you don't have to use Docker in Docker. You can use simple method of different job if you want to split, or you can use this same method as well in here as well. Okay, so you can use that as well. It will also work. You can combine without Docker in Docker as well here. So this is one of the way you can use our shared runner. So I wanted to show you like how you can use shared runner as well in this tutorial. So that is all for this tutorial. I hope it's an informative tutorial, and I would request you, like, if you have not subscribed, or if you want to watch more videos, click on the subscribe button. Also like my videos, share and comment. So thank you for watching.